right now between 17 and Navi and how I think that this is going to end up between them. I think that Uba is coming in wanting to make a statement, and 17 once more. And I think that that's going to be the way we see this. APAC, man. Apex.
Navi 17, so EMEA, China, or APAC will come off the strongest. Everyone but NA. I like that answer, Matt. That's
Hey, look. Sonic's managed to make some points. I finally didn't put Tig on my fantasy team, so he did something.
They sure did. Now let's hop on over to match number 1. The plane is in the air, as fair as can be, as we go straight north to south. And while there's no promises of this plane path, one thing that is kind of interesting, especially as of what we've been seeing late and in the qualifiers for this tournament, we haven't had a single military circle throughout the entirety of the group stage. So who knows? With this plane path, there might just be a chance.
Look, I'm one of those people that whenever I'm like eating dinner or whatever, I find whatever the tastiest thing is, and I save it for last. Maybe that's all we're doing. We're just waiting for the millie-based games whenever we get to the grand finals, or whenever it's the absolute best moment for me, worst moment for the players.
Now, I'm seeing Puccio still on board the plane. Now he's jumping. His entire team jumps towards Gatka. Does that have me worried? I'm not sure. He is in, and he is, well, good for him, the only guy on Millie. So maybe there's a plan to it. Maybe they didn't quite get the comms on through for when to jump out. I'm hoping that it's on purpose, and I'm also hoping we're not seeing any hot drops. But as I'm taking my eyes through the map here, I'm only seeing LG near Cerberus, but wouldn't expect a whole lot of commotion off of it.
Yeah, this looks like this is going to be a pretty simple drop, all considered. Puccio's maybe going ahead and getting himself as hyper-looted as possible. I will say that given the fact that we keep seeing Puccio's do some like spinning in the... Yes, you gotta be careful. We can't leak the script like this, Toby.
That's true.
We're supposed to be surprised.
Puccio's, you're making it too obvious, man. We thought we had a plan here. No, he's the king of the island. He's got it all to himself, and I think he's aware of that too. And obviously, the last player to jump out of the plane saw no parachutes nearby. Now Sonic's wrapping on over, but you can be sure that he's telling his team, "Come down here, guys. It is an open buffet."
And for all of those that are curious, yes, Sonic's is already in rotation back down to military, just like Toby was talking about. 17 Gaming chilling inside of Pachinki. Pachinki not even in the circle. This is still a pretty southern military circle.
It is very far south, not so much east side in, so the chances of those observatory endings are kind of, it's not impossible. It could still massively hard shift east, but not that likely. And then we still do have a little bit of land towards the north that could potentially have us end a game north of it, but that would also require one hell of a shift to go up there.
So we're looking around at everything. You can see that it's predominantly safety in play for a lot of people. Our teams that are very far to the north, don't be surprised if we don't see them coming into the very tail end of this. We haven't been seeing a lot of success in edge play coming out from our teams.
Yeah.
So whenever we're getting a military-based circle like that, that does mean that we also are going to have some interesting situations where trying to get into the circle as fast as possible.
Exactly. We're seeing PO here getting the rotation game going, the captain of the team, and now let's hear what he has to say.
저희가 좀 단단하게 잘하긴 했지만 그 이후 라운드에서 실수들이 많았고 또 이게 팀 게임이다 보니까 다 같이 잘해야 되는데 저도 못하고 다 같이 실수를 조금씩 하다 보니까 그게 좀 스노우볼이 굴러간 것 같아요. 아쉬운 것 같습니다. 세계대회가 이렇게 멤버가 맞춰지고 처음이고 오프라인도 오랜만에 하는 친구들도 많고 감을 좀 덜 잡아가지고 조금 더 경험을 쌓다 보면 충분히 잘할 거라고 생각하고 있습니다.
Man, these interviews are savage. Hey, you guys did good in game 1, but sucked since then. How's that happening? What's going on?
How do you feel about being bad?
I know.
It's always great to hear from the PUBG legend himself, PO. And I think we got to keep in mind that as much as he's saying, they're smart about the way they're doing this. They haven't had the best start to it, but they're acknowledging the mistakes. It's not just, oh, we didn't get the circles, like all the excuses. They acknowledge we didn't do well. They've sat down, they've prepared for this. But I want to see, you said there's not so much edge team play. They are one of the edge teams on this server. I need to see them be more aggressive out there.
And that's kind of the problem that we've seen, right? The teams that are playing on edge have just been getting picked apart by third and fourth parties. It's also been a lot more open circles, specifically in that mid-game section, and that's where we've been seeing a lot of our problems come in. So teams such as LG and Gen G, who do really enjoy fighting along the edge and use that to propel themselves up and maintain their average points per game, it just hasn't been effective.
Now DraftKings popped off in the group stage, and well, that made everyone pick him for winner's bracket, and there you go, -3 points. Minuta, on the other hand, gets himself the first kill of said winner's bracket, as he is far disconnected from the rest of his teammates over in Sarki. But you know what, if you want to get the mental games going, if you want to get into people's heads early on, this is when you do it right from the start.
As we can see, Cerberus is going to be coming in. There is no bridge camp set up at the time. We saw Na'Vi making path just a moment ago. Don't be surprised if we also do see emergency pickups be a pretty common thing inside of this round, as we all know bridge camps can be quite problematic for a lot of teams. Cerberus actually taking the slow, just scouting. But on the opposite side, 17 actually does have a bridge camp set up.
They are sat there ready and waiting. Not sure if Cerberus is going to go all the way over here either, or if they're going to stop just on the other side. We'll see in just a few. I would imagine Cerberus. I mean, Cerberus is a team that throughout group stages set up a lot of traps. And what better place, what more iconic place to try and set up an ambush play than here. But as you can see, not quite the case. They're going to continue further forward. They're going to want to get their way further inland down here on the south.
The best traps are always set up where they're least expected. So see, you don't do the bridge, you move back just a bit and try to aim for it over there. It looks like that's what they're trying to set up. Get some more control over this eastern push outside of the bridge.
We saw just on the right-hand side of the screen before the kill spread between the team, the fact that you have Tycon and Himas doing so much work. I mean, the thing is, it's not just a two-man thing, but the entire team is set up around these two monster fraggers being able to do what they do best, and that is taking out players no matter where they are on the server. And oh my lord, have they been successful at doing exactly that. So I guess that's here just proving that this playstyle that Cerberus has come in with has clearly worked.
Looks like 17 realizing nobody making the path in. They were scouting out, making sure nobody was on the opposing side. Then said, you know, hey, let's just go ahead and cut over to the other position on this one. They're going to go ahead and get down the strong compound just on the southern section of that western bridge. Petrichor Road now going to be coming in right back behind Cerberus, but they do actually have Tai Lu that's going to be coming in back behind them. So if we see any shots really come out from Cerberus to slow down, or railings come out of nowhere to slow down Petrichor Road, they might have a problem behind them.
You talked about emergency pickups just before as well. Third on 5 just flew themselves from North Georgia all the way down to the southern side of Millie. Bad thing for them, I should say, is that they want have vehicles to work with yet, but we'll see if they find any now. Here's the trap, here's the setup. We'll see what they get up with. Dogma already started shooting, but whiffing a few bullets, and that's going to be him down early.
And now we can see Haisaki wasn't quite in a position to exploit this as much as they wanted to. So with that, Duckmai going to be the one that receives the bad end of that, and that trap going to be slightly problematic, as now even LG coming in from the ocean on the opposing side. Petrichor Road's going to be able to bypass through them, but I don't think they're going to be stopping a Nova. I think they're going to keep going.
It seemed that Cerberus, I know that, I mean, of course, Dogma would have wanted to hit a few more bullets there, but as a whole, they weren't set up for exactly them wrapping out on that side. And therefore, I feel like when you're set up there alone, you know the entire team is coming your way, maybe just don't shoot if you have a chance to just fall back. If the team isn't ready for it, as you were saying, maybe just hold back and let them pass, because you know there are more fights to come.
They were trying to be prepped for it, but that was kind of one of the issues with it. They didn't have their last member really in that strong defensive position next to the hillside. And I think that we saw the callouts come for, hey, look, they're cutting this direction, and we saw the shift out, but not a lot too much happening. LG actually are going to hit the shots onto Petrichor Road, pick up a kill outside of this one, as Petrichor Road going to be... I was actually kind of surprised that they stopped into this one. This is such a edge position inside of a military-based circle. I guess maybe aiming for kills on people wrapping away from the Cerberus camp?
I mean, Petrichor moved out very early. They're a very edge-heavy team in the very early stages of the game, but they also, I talked to Ixlef coming in to the finals as well, and about summer, their new captain on the team. They're still kind of conforming to the former 4AM play style of saying, play edge early, but still go center. 1.5, maybe even 2 circles than the former Petrichor would, and I think this is what they're trying to do, wrap around the circle so they could claim some center positions. This was just a pit stop to try and get everyone grouped up. They had just avoided the camp and survived. Now here, unluckily for them, Luminosity was there raiding.
And I think that they should be able to pass through this with no problem. They will. Like, it's probably about a good kilometer before they bump into another team that they would have to be contesting against. Outside of this one, most of our teams are already inside the safe zone. Haisaki, though, you can see coming back over here with Cerberus making their shift away from their bridge camp. He is down. A couple smokes going to be coming out from this one, but it's going to be Tai Lu on the opposing side. That rock going to provide just enough cover, but nope, that's not going to be enough. Shin's got goals, man.
Now, Tai Lu is one of those teams that I didn't know exactly what to expect from coming into the group stage. They went out and impressed everyone. Phenomenal play plays coming out from this team. Now I want to see them do it again here, though. We're full reset. We need to see Tali, we need to see Shen and Xiaoyang go out and wave the banner and say we got the momentum going still from our previous games to be able to continue forward.
We do have the res that came out on the opposing side for Cerberus, but remember, this is a 3v3 all lined up. Tycon's trying to step in. It's going to be 7-5-5 that actually gets the knock. Rest Tyler is going to be coming in, and Shin opening up the door. Tycon's going to be on the opposing side of that, opposite side of that tree. Long's going to come in, and you can see Shin already knows exactly where he's at. But it's going to be a Mox that comes in with a big hit onto it, and Tai Lu, our first team eliminated.
Yep, solid repositioning, solid reset. Keep in mind, there were 3 players coming into that fight and took the first knock as well. So for a good portion of it, it was a 2 versus 4. But again, Cerberus, man, they are here to fight. And now with this circle shift, that is, well, I mean, it's north, but we're still not going north. I mean, okay, if you're a Falcons fan, cheer as much as you want, but there is very little to no chance of me going that far.
It makes it a lot more difficult as we're going to see a lot of teams committing into the Sosnovka hillside already, and those can lead into some very embittered battles over there, just due to the fact of how peak heavy it is, and if you end up in the valleys, your life is just terrible.
Now, Danoa, you see here on your server, a team that had a bit of a slow start to the group stage, did manage to pull through in the end, making their way with the ferry, and also the Expendables, one of the Apex teams. Wait, what? Did they hit? What? You know what? This was a showcase. You can now rest in the water, people.
Yes.
For those of you guys who didn't know that, Danoa, they have made a deal with PUBG and said, we haven't really had a chance to showcase this new ability yet. Danoa, if you could just jump into the side of the ship and get run over so that we can get things going easily. Danoa, like, you know what? It's kind of, I know it's winner's bracket and all, but, you know, we'll do it for you. So thank you, Danoa, for showcasing to everyone that, yes, you can, in fact, rest your teammates in the water.
That slight curve of the ferry doing some work
We'll just ignore that one.
Okay, looking in, we can see most of our rotations coming in. Nuren's not getting away with that rotations as Na'Vi, center of the circle, high ground, everything that you could possibly want.
And this is where I'm worried for the teams around Na'Vi. They play phenomenal PUBG out of this position, both globally and within EMEA. And with how well they've been playing in this tournament already, usually Na'Vi has been a bit of a slow starter in the global stage, but here they come in super confident. I talked to Alia coming into today as well. As he gets knocked, that's unlucky, of course, and flushed. Sorry about that one, Alia. But he said they were playing confident, they felt good, they were just going to go out and play their game. With the position they have right now, they should be able to continue that. But of course, unlucky for them to lose one this early.
Well, that's kind of the symptom of the circle, right? Whenever you have that high ground, that means that every single time you're cresting to take any shots at any of the opposing teams, 50 people can potentially see you at the time, so it can lead to some very high risks in stepping out. This is kind of what we see going on in the northeastern part of the island. The remnants of what's still inside the circle is we are now also coming over here with Gen G next to 17. Essentially, we just bounce from one side of the circle to the other to give you an idea on kind of the lay of the land. Is everybody is hillsides, and then there's this awkward kind of congestion closer to the edge play, but I can't even really call this edge play, but it's the closest we got.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it essentially is. 17 still in and around the bridge, only with 2 players posted up, though, and Taemin on the bike has crept his way forward. So let's see now. Xiaowu has an idea, I think, that there might be threats coming from that side, but he's kind of looking all over the place, not having identified Gen G, obviously, but I like his awareness. Those spots, one POC on the other side, huge that he's able to see him before they catch them off guard.
I love this position that we see him playing from. It's so defended. It can really maintain a lot of control over that western front that you can see people trying to make their moves in from. Plus, if for whatever reason somebody ends up going to the bridge, you can still do some secondary movements around that. There's a lot of strength to be had in it, but now having revealed themselves, they're like, you know, we could see somebody make the push into us. Let's just go ahead and regroup with our other teammates because they were only doing a 2-2 split here.
Also, I like both the disengage from 17 Gaming here, but also the immediate response. You saw both Lil Ghost and Sushu instantly hop in their cars. Guys, they're here, but you also hear, I mean, you can almost see the call come through. It was just one guy, he has fallen back. Let's just regroup again, because look at the amount of control 17 currently have. If they were to full commit on a fight against Gen G, other teams would claim that, especially with a shift like this coming through.
Okay, we know that we're staying on military base island, but the fact that we're still leaving that peninsula is absolutely insane. Question mark, you can see, making sure to get some more control over this northern area, because this is vital positioning now as we've just continued to shift up into this northern section of the island itself. Question mark have gained themselves just such a control point to be playing from. Like, look at how many teams they're presently capable of taking shots at.
And these shots could not come through at a worse time. Danoa is trying to get back to the compound, but while they're running and getting shot by question mark, now here comes Falcons as well.
Whoa, but question mark needs to be careful because they do have Cerberus that is coming up back behind them. And, you know, DK, they've been out in the blue zone for a while, and
Yeah,
they're
in a
also
hurry.
being approached. We'll see how they opt into coming into this one, but the longer the question mark keeps taking these shots with day trade on the opposing side means that we could actually see a bit more of a mix-up. Haisaki doesn't want to commit into the question mark line, instead maybe moving more to the south where LG is positioned.
Yeah, and this is really going to be a test on the Danawa roster. I mean, I talked about teams in the pre-show that have to be able to play against, you know, it's here many days, stay good in health and whatnot. Danawa, I talked to Soul early. Anonix has not been feeling too well last night. Loki is the one that had an issue with his knee. Soul as well has not been feeling too good either. So they're all looking at me going, you know what, Salute is going to carry us today. So hopefully, hopefully, I looked at Salute as well, and he was a little worried looking. So we'll see if this early commotion is going to become an issue. Tygon finds the first one, gets the flush as well, and able to dodge and weave as D+, as I would feel forced to continue going.
Ooh,
wrong
it's
car.
Haisaki. You just kind of getting a vibe for what's going on right now. DK now also making their approach. They're going to be rolling right in between LG, just passing Cerberus. Petrichor Road's just going to be the south of them. But as they move forward, they're going to be moving into that day trade sight line. I wouldn't be surprised if that Wizard Tower is going to be what they're going to opt into, because
Sneakers out of the car. Out of the car right as
Should be
you get
restful.
there.
Oh, no,
Hey,
maybe
you say
not.
that, but nope. Underneath the tire, he finds a Belmoth, tried to find it with the bolt, but not going to happen. And for D+ Kia, I mean, their strong suit in this tournament was never going to be aggression. The only way they've really been claiming points here is by playing super defensive. So maybe Americano in this shack will be able to get something done.
What we need to be looking at right now is we've got a build-up that's going on onto the south. And yes, that's going to be Cerberus, Petrichor Road just getting picked apart. FaZe on the opposing side of it. And it's just down to a one-member. Cerberus still living in, putting in a ton of work, and they're going to go down. But this is not done yet. FaZe has still got some vision, some mindset on what's going to be happening over here. But this is also happening over on the western side, where we do have, it's going to be Jin G and Sonics.
With the circle shifting far north, it's obvious that these edges are going to be burning. Question mark now out as well as Loki finds a three-piece. No matter if you got a bad knee or not, he's still going to be able to frag out, takes down the entirety of Question mark, and Sonic's now trying to wrap their way further forward. First one goes down to the hands of Tiggleton. Finds the second as well. Now he needs to commit to the heal because he's running down low in phase 3 and it's about to hit phase 4.
And once they crest up this hillside, it's going to be 17 that actually has vision on him, and they know this. Pio all by himself. Pio things paying off, but that means that he is now the last one up for his squad. 17 moving more aggressively into this as the new circle is popped. It's kind of just centered up on the landmass itself. Mime looks like they're going to just go ahead and leave him behind, and Sonic's going to jump inside of a vehicle and send it with a wing and a prayer, but they're going to have T5 in front of them and Pio, depending on pathing, 17 on the other side.
And this is again a situation where, I mean, Pio a little disjointed from his team. We know that he likes to play this play style of going out and making things happen on his own, but when his team is then attacked and he is not able to really go out and help at all, it's just troublesome. As I say that, thank you, Pio, for disproving my point, because bad Pio things can really quickly turn into good Pio things. But even if he does get these 2 kills, I'm sure that he would have wanted to really have his teammates alive here too.
And that's kind of the problem, right? Is if you're Sonics, you're like, the only one we didn't kill was Pio. Where, oh, where could Pio be? And now it is just going to be H-Win having to make pathing into a, I guess, a very caught out circle. Is now, yep, there's 17 coming in. 17 going to continue moving south. H-Win could wrap to the north, but 17 has control of the entire western line. If there is no path that H-Win can take.
17 is taking nothing for granted here. They're wrapping in really slow. As you're saying, they have Little Ghost up on the northern side. They know that they have 3rd and 5 ahead of them, so not in a hurry to push on in. They'll sit here and make completely sure that no one is going to backfill them, that they're not going to get backstabbed. They want to focus inward, because we all know that 17 Gaming, once they only have one direction they need to go, they are as dangerous as any team on the server.
Look, whenever you got your backs to the wall, you don't have to worry about being backstabbed. That's 17 strength, 8 HP. Oh, H-Win. He is going to find himself a recessed hillside that he can play in, but that is going to have some vision coming out from James and the rest of FaZe. So I think that they're kind of focused on the circle right now, and with that recess in the hillside, I don't think he saw it. Yeah, he should see it. Yeah, now.
Trying to get an angle now as well. The thing is, FaZe hasn't really been shooting a lot from where they are, so not a lot of teams knows exactly of their spot. So James might be a little hesitant in giving up his position. Not so much that he cares if H-Win knows where he is, not more so the teams around them towards the north. But now shots have been fired. It's actually Fex shooting down in this direction as James is trying to flex further towards the west. But again, they know that Na'Vi is nearby. They don't know exactly where they are. So again, James always really wanting his off-angle kind of surprise element. Don't want to shoot too soon.
And I got to give respect to H-Win. This is a good read on the circle, realizing the approach area to come into. He has no targets other than FaZe. If he can manage to make it to the hillside, use the crest in the hill to kind of block out any sight lines that they've got, he's got survivability, and he can kind of let Na'Vi protect him from that stage forward.
I mean, for a little while longer anyway. He is inside the circle now. We're close to placement points too, and in a best of 12, you know that every single point could be the deciding factor in and just that one extra point could be the deciding factor in whether or not you make it into those grand finals directly, or if you have to go down into losers bracket.
Okay, we're getting into that stage, though, where it's kind of Na'Vi can see everything that they want to see, right?
Yeah.
They've got vision for pretty much anything. TE is going to be playing the lower section in front of them. LG still playing on the edge. They've just got Loki in front, as well as a weakened Falcons, as we're all just kind of waiting to see which direction this goes. It's going to lean in the south, into the hillside, move away from the coastline itself, which is going to be great for FaZe, oddly good for H1 as well. But look at that T5 Na'Vi 17 mix-up.
Yeah, Melman is on a solo flank right now, and currently is a little further down the hillside, but I think once he realizes it's two full four-man teams up here, he's probably not going to want to be gone over. And he is now running back towards his teammates. So you know what, as much as more kills could be good, as long as we know Na'Vi likes to kind of flex out and do damage on the edge, it's just not worth the risk. They have the compound, they have the edge to hold. Let's just let these guys wound each other and take what's left.
And 17 needs, and they know this, right? But they need to be very aware as they're moving forward. They're going to be moving hillside to hillside. It's kind of what we were alluding to beforehand.
Yeah.
It's great to get control over this western hillside, but the circle now heavily flavors Na'Vi, and they're going to have to move down into this, like, valley position, and it is so hard to survive through. They want to take out T5 quickly.
Yeah.
They want to start trying to harass what's up in front of them, and they want to try to move. That's why you see so many throwables coming out of the stage. They're like, we need to clean this fast, and T5 just will not relent.
I like what Pathenpong is doing here. It doesn't matter that he might be the cheapest player in Fantasy right now. He is buying so much time for his team to reset. He is not just constantly peeking with them 24. He's sit back waiting, forcing 17 to prioritize him in that shack and allowing for his team to reset. Unfortunately, though, Xiaowu is there. He has another plan and has about his first of all.
Now,
Loki again?
Just making go of it, and LG just cannot find a path inside of a circle to save their lives. Hence why they're always dead, right? But anyway, T5 still just trying to hold it together down here. This is going to be Rosted taking the shots into 17 Gaming with a little bit of combined effort. While we do see TE taking some shots into T5, who really can't move too much. This is just that valley fight, man.
Yeah.
It's just nobody really comes out of this clean.
And now is when Na'Vi can consider going down here. They've seen the elimination of one team. They've seen all the damage done on the other side. This is when they can start harvesting on the edge. Xiaobei should be down to this nade. Nope. If not the first one gets him, then at least the second one should. Nope, not going to happen either. Able to dodge and weave, get out of that one. And in the end, it's actually going to be 17 out on top. Pathenpong falls down to blue. Rustic is taken down too. And Loki, the lone survivor of Danawa, continues to rack up points.
This is great. He was watching. He saw out the fact that Na'Vi got distracted for just 1 second, tried to send it in, but the problem with it is his face is still going to be defended in.
Yeah.
Mel is still holding back in that 17 line, as you were talking about, moved in a bit more aggressive, but FaZe, they did a good job of getting control of the southeast early, and day trade has been kind of functioning up into that northern corridor from them, so that's made it a lot more, like, as you were talking about, they really just had to deal with H1 and get control over territory, and they've got that recess hillside that is so strong.
From a group stage now, where everything was pretty quiet in the early game, we have had a very, very action-packed pretty much entire game here. So phase 5, but only 19 alive is not something you see too often. There's plenty of space available. Issue is you can't really use that space for a whole lot, especially not if you're Falcons trying to cross a road and you have the entirety of day trade and expendable set on the other side just waiting for you.
Yeah, Falcons, I was going to say, there's not a lot that's going to be able to be done there. Circle does pop, FaZe and a day trade feeling pretty good, but let's be honest, also Na'Vi to some degree, even though they're not inside the circle itself. They just want to take out this last 17 member that just refuses to go away. And with that, going to go ahead and feed it over the blue. No surprise on either one of those. You know, whenever we've got so few alive at this stage, don't feed a point over, right?
Exactly. You see Na'Vi here. We talked about it with 17 earlier. Just do not allow for any snakes to wrap on through. And they know that there was a Sonics fight happening on the west earlier, and they have not seen that last kill come through. So they know there's H1 somewhere. They have to respect him. They have to be very, very careful. I mean, we saw just before a solo Loki take out 3 from Luminosity. Every single player on this server has the capabilities of really wounding your team if you're not ready at any given time.
TE is going to have, I want to say, a bit of an awkward path as the line from Na'Vi is starting to be much more northern facing. Good news for H1 is means that he can creep in a bit easier depending on how FaZe manages to spot him out. But the big factor in it is we're also starting to get some more vision from day trade into what's going to be happening with this. There's a hillside that TE is trying to use to block out day trade's positioning, as you can kind of see FaZe lining up more into that. But I'm concerned about this. Yeah, you can see that Na'Vi is going to be creeping down more and more to the north, and Delwyn is kind of eyeing this direction, but with the way that these hills are working, it's just kind of like popping in, getting some vision, and then feeding it over. And now Example finally gets it, goes for the shots, going to step away from it, and now feed that information over to his teammates.
What do they do in response to this, though, Na'Vi? They have a chance to back off. They can potentially, should they want to, wrap down on that southern side. They don't know exactly how many from Expendables are looking this direction, but it seems like it's going to be a stalemate for now. Now you see Example starting to wrap back towards his teammates. I like this play. When there's a wrap on that side, you can be pretty convinced that it's not just going to be one guy. There's more people coming your direction. So Example is backing off, setting up with Millman, because keep in mind, they lost one earlier.
I really like this. We can see the Expendables were like, look, we've been harassed from day trade for so long. We're making the Western commitment.
Yeah.
They're shifting heavily into that Na'Vi line, and they're saying, okay, we're going to defend from here. We're going to use this. We're going to try to brute force. And let's be honest.
Oh no.
No, he's gonna go for it. He's gonna reveal. He's got to hit these shots. No,
there's no way. That one's gonna hurt. In any case, Adrian at least got some placement points. He was a solo player with 11 alive and he makes top 5, so there's that. But that's probably all he can take away from that situation. But here comes Expendables. As shit, this fight was bound to happen eventually. They didn't want to go into day trade, and now they're forcing the fight against Na'Vi. Delwyn up and over finds the first, goes for the second as well, but can't quite connect.
It's going to be Na'Vi that's got their backs up against the wall in this one example, trying to be careful, but it's going to be FaZe also coming back behind, gives no space. And if you've got a team that's back against the wall right now and the Expendables, that is to be terrified of. Day trade shifting over, but these guys, the more mad you make them, the more pressure you put on them, it feels like the more they're growing.
Great timing on Expendables as well. They see Na'Vi back off to go down a potentially third party, and then they wrap north around. The issue for both these two teams is Expendables finished that fight so fast that no one could really punish them off of taking it to begin with, and now they get to back off towards Day Trade. Issue is, I was just going to say, are they aware that Day Trade have made this play? They weren't, but at least they haven't been knocked.
We have Delwyn that's trying to hold back FaZe at the time, taking a couple of pot shots into him. FaZe with control over the hillside itself, kind of eyeing in as Day Trade without a lot of very good options, now starting to look more into that expendable line. Puchus is really, really close, but this is just not going to be a comfy fight given FaZe's positioning for either one of these teams.
The more shots getting fired here from Day Trade, the more Expendables are starting to realize what they're up against. And Flash on this house, they have to wait him out. I know they're on the edge of the circle. They should be wrapping south into, but as you can see here, there's a lot of open space, but that open space is completely unusable for anything. You don't have your cars with you here. You have to take fights and fight. I think right now Expendables are trying to figure out which play do we go for, and they have to push us now.
Positioning is massive. He does get spotted out. 777 reads it, moving in, but then the lines open up for Day Trade. It's going to be Flash that hits the shots into him, but now the Expendables know that they need to move. FaZe now going to be more aggressive into this. James, Fex, as well as Kurexi all moving down the hillside.
And Flash with just 14 bullets to work with, not going to be any more he can do. Nice reset once again from Tanwoo and Expendables. No flushes so far. FaZe have to be real fast if they want to punish off of this.
I mean, again, just a clean, quick firefight coming out from the Expendables, sitting at 8 kills right now. And FaZe has control over the circle, and they're moving aggressively into this, but they had to leave Gustav back. So 3 members in FaZe now moving aggressively in, gets the shots, knocks 2 of them, and it's going to be Tanwoo on the other side now looking in patiently.
Yeah, this is FaZe written all over it. Great timing on their part to come on down. Again, keep in mind, FaZe hasn't really had any good endgame performances in the group so far, so for them to come out with a win, they would rather play it safe, rather claim that win than go out, potentially risk it all, and end up in third. So nice good finish off here for FaZe in a game that I could only imagine they're able to bring home.
Yeah, this is going to be it for the Expendables. The hillside just too strong. The defense lined up from FaZe. And his Flash is going to be leaning into Gustav. But remember, he's been holding this line for a while now. He knows exactly where they are. FaZe already repositioning him out. This feels like it's a matter of time unless Flash has the biggest play of his life. The hillside could provide it. There is a world where it could happen. But it's not the likeliest of things.
It really isn't. And with the change of the phase, not roster, but role management on the team, they are much more grouped up these days than they were before. I mean, obviously, Naze have been lobbed on forward. With all of them up on the northern side, there's only really so many places he can be. And what other teams would do in spreading and out and trying to find him, look at FaZe. They're set, fall together again. No risks being taken here. 4v1. Flash literally doesn't have the ammo to get them all at once.
But this is really well done by his part, realizing how they were going to be moving into it, shifting back up, moving into the hillside. He doesn't have a lot to work with, you're right, but he's making sure to exploit as much as possible. Keep in mind, he doesn't know it's 4 members of FaZe that are up at the time, so he's got to be...
He should know.
He should have a pretty good idea that they're all going to be up. Now here comes the hillside push. They now know, starting to throw everything in. Flash going to go for something. He's got a shield up, but yeah... Not too much you can do there. FaZe, though, 10 kills and just a dominant win.
Great game for them. They played it quiet on that southern side from the start. Again, they were hesitant. Even when H-Wing came around the corner, they were playing it slow. They want to get late game presence. They want to get time in on the server against these teams rather than go all in early and potentially die. So very, very calculated play from FaZe to bring home the win in the first match of Winners Bracket.
You got your milli circle now. Are you content?
There you go. Now we don't need more. Now we got it out of the way.
Or maybe now it's just the beginning of an era of military base circles. But as we've got everything, we're going to take a